coverage of the Suzuki International Series is brought to you by Suzuki. For the last 13 years, the Suzuki International Series has had its 3-round series finish at the Cemetery Circuit in Whanganui on Boxing Day. The Cemetery Circuit pedigree goes back a lot further, as this year we celebrate its 70th anniversary. From humble beginnings, it has developed a worldwide following. And, along with the Suzuki Series, it traditionally kicks off the New Zealand summer of motorcycle racing, catering for 9 classes, including the fire-breathing Formula One superbikes. Two-time series champion Scott Moir knows what to expect here at the Cemetery.
Yeah, I've had it all around here. So I mean, hope to bloody win again like we all want to do. But hey, it's pretty stiff competition with Damon and Mitch and Jaden and all of them. Anyone can pull it out. So I've just got to put my head down really and just push it.
The F2 points leader and former 600 Supersport national champion Avalon Biddle was making her second visit to the cemetery.
I'm excited. Probably not really my style. You have to be really aggressive. It's really short, sharp, and you don't have time to think. You've just got to open the throttle and go. So, yeah, it's a challenge for me, but really enjoying it.
Looking forward to the challenge of some resurfacing on the circuit. Supermoto rider Jete Josiah.
Yeah, no, track's awesome. Especially been resealed in the first few corners, 1 and 2. Plenty of grip out there. Well, doesn't seem like for some guys, but should be a good day.
With some of the more notorious bumps now gone on the circuit, defending F2 champion Rogan Chandler was ready to test his Yamaha.
Yeah, turn 1 and 2 are just unreal now. They've taken away a bit of the bumps and it's a lot smoother, so you can get on the gas a bit harder now. So I think that's why everyone's going so fast. The top 10 are quite close, where usually it can get quite separated here. But it's looking really good, and I think the track's in really good condition.
I think turn 1 to turn 2 is the exceptional. I mean, there's a couple of little bumps, but I mean, to be honest, you had to run around the manhole in previous years through turn 2 anyway. So turn 2 is amazing compared to. I think we'll see lap times be a lot faster this year.
So the stage was set. The series itself started at the Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park in Taupo. A great crowd, hot sunny weather and record entries set up what would be a great day's racing. Make a return to racing after the COVID-19 shortened season, Superbike champion Alistair Hugenbosen.
I think there's always sort of a target, no matter who's out there. It doesn't matter if you're number 1 or you got 3rd or 2nd in the championship. You're always gunning to beat that guy in front of you. So there's probably a wee bit more pressure from myself that I put on, but it's all the same to the other guys. You're going to beat that person in front of you.
3rd in last year's F1 series was Mitch Rees. While not quite running last year's pace, the older Rees brother knew what he wanted to do.
Had another surgery this year, so just building on getting stronger and fitter and more time on the bike. So didn't go as fast in quality this year as last year, but got some work to do. But try and get a good start today and get up the front and try and lead it.
Back home after a season racing BMWs in the BSB, Damon Rees has quickly adapted to his Honda.
It definitely is very different. The Honda has its strengths and also the BMW has its strengths. So there's a few bits and pieces that I had to kind of line up, but the bike, I haven't really had to touch it much this weekend. It was more me getting used to riding again, and I think it's paying off, getting the results, and I'm happy.
In the opening race, it was 2-time series champion Scott Moir that got away on his Suzuki. While others lost their heads around him, the New Zealand Superbike champ Alistair Hugenbosen was riding with his. Heaping pressure on Moir at the front soon paid off for the Christchurch man with his first win.
It's good to get the first race of the season out of the way. It's been a wee while since we've actually had a decent race with all the top national guys, so to go out there and get a good start. Don't normally get good starts, so to get a good start and then hang out with Scotty and then slowly pick him off and win the first Suzuki Series race was really good, so I'm looking forward to the next one.
In race 2 for the Formula Ones, it was again Moir in the early lead. Chased all the way by Damon Rees and number 43 Alistair Hugenbosen on his Yamaha. Rees forced his way to the front, but after this mistake coming onto the pit straight, gifting the lead back to Moir. But just as he had done in race 1, as the laps wore on, Hugenbosen pounced. Round 2 of the series was at Manfield Circuit Chris Amon, and in race 1 it was a Honda benefit. Mitch Rees debuting the 2021 Fireblade and younger brother Damon backing him up. In third place, Auckland's Daniel Mettam, and in fourth it was first round points leader Alistair Hugenbosen. Despite setting a fierce pace, that was the way the positions would stay right through to the finish.
Just sort of sat there comfortable, rode my own race, and just trying to learn things with the bike all the time. Like I said, it is the debut season, or debut weekend. So yeah, for me to get a win and lead the laps and just feel comfortable, I'm pretty happy.
In the second and final race, it was again Mitch Rees who got away best. Taking the fight to him in the early going, Richie Dibbin on his Suzuki. Whether it was a change of setup or mindset, but at the three-quarter mark, Hugenbosen came alive, taking race number 2 from Rees, Scott Moyer and Dan Mettam.
I got told by the team that I needed to put my elbows out in the last race. Was probably a wee bit nappy in the first race, and just with the bad starts. Not a fantastic start in the second race either, but just putting the bike felt so good. I could put it wherever I wanted, and obviously it showed coming from 5th or 6th or wherever it was, and to get Mitch in the last one.
So we zoom on the 92. This is Damon Rees, pole sitter. 64, Adam Chambers back on the big bikes, back on the 1000cc machines. Oh, and the 55, Jaden Carrick looks like he might have preempted the start. We won't say anything for the moment, but it's the 55, the Whanganui Toyota, Whanganui Well Drillers Suzuki of Jaden Carrick that goes out into the front. 91, Barrack Sports Bar sponsored another Suzuki rider. This is Richie Dibbin. He is the current 600 sports production champion of New Zealand. On board here with David Hall from Te Awamutu. He's moved up from the 600s to the superbikes as Adam Chambers goes past him. Around the Suzuki crossing they go. The race leader, though, continues to be the 55. You're on board here with Damon Rees on the Rees Honda, just getting up the inside of Richie Dibbin, and Dibbin takes it straight back as they head down into the trade zone straight and into the trade zone corner. Looking out the back of Damon Rees' Honda 1000, you see Dibbin as we go back to the front of the field and over the Bridgestone Bridge for the first time. This is Jaden Carrick. Second place man Richie Dibbin. So Whanganui showing out early here in first race of Formula One, brought to you by Reacher, Europe's motorcycle apparel. It's back on board here with Dibbin, currently sitting in third place. That's Damon Rees just up ahead of him as they head up the fastest part of the racetrack, and that is the Sharp As long haul straight through the Suzuki crossing up into the S as they go. Carrick still leads it. Rees just getting a little bit closer here. On board with Jaden Carrick as he comes down through the gearbox and hard under braking for the Robert Holden corner. Well, Jaden's ridden every type of bike you can think of here at the Cemetery Circuit, from Super Motard through to the 600s, through to a Kawasaki Superbike, and now on the Whanganui Toyota Suzuki 1000, and he's in command of this one. But there is a question mark about the start. Did he jump the start? Only us and the officials really know that. Oh, just getting a little bit untidy under brakes is the 92 of Damon Rees, sitting comfortably in second place. Still Richie Dibbin in third on the Barrack Sports Bar Suzuki, being reached and managed by one Brian Bernard. Long-time racer here out of Whanganui, as you're back on board here with Scott Moyer. Going down the inside of Moyer would have been one of the Kawasaki's, and I've got a feeling that was Adam Chambers. Positional change at the front of the field coming into Robert Holden, and the 92 of Damon Rees goes into the front. Carrick goes back into second place as he chases through the trade zone corner and heads towards the Bridgestone overbridge once again. So it's Damon Rees now, pole sitter and front runner here at race number 1 for the F1s. It's Carrick through in second place. It's still the 91 of Dibbin through in fourth. And then we would go back to the Chambers on the Kawasaki by the look of it. You're on board here with Scott Moyer, 2-time series champion in the Suzuki International Series. Got perilously close to winning the Robert Holden a couple of seasons ago, only to have his pocket picked by one Peter Hickman. No overseas riders because of the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic, but the locals are really turning it on here. We concentrate on this battle further down through the field as Moyer gets a little bit closer to the 64 of Adam Chambers, and conversely, Chambers gets a little bit closer to Richie Dibbon, and Richie Dibbon nearly out of the seat. In fact, out of the seat and nearly off the Barrack Sports Bar Suzuki. So a real moment there for the 91. He's got to retain his composure. Meantime, the field are closing him down. Moyer around the outside of Chambers. Back on board here with Scott Moyer. His next target is Richie Dibbon, a standout on the Super Motard bike for years and years and years. And as I mentioned before, the current 600 sports production champion in the COVID-19 shortened season. Looking at the back of Mitch Rees' bike. Remember, Mitch Rees had a problem in the qualifying, started off the back row, so he's cut his way through the field as well. 91 is Dibbon, right in behind him too. That is Scott Moyer. Then we go back to 34, and that would be Daniel Medham on the Colemans of K Road Suzuki. On board here with Moyer, up into the braking area for the Robert Holden corner once again. Moyer getting a little bit closer to Dibbon, can't find a way round though. Mitch Rees just starting to distance Adam Chambers, so that's what's happening in the mid-pack. Out in the front though, it's still Damon Rees, Mitch's younger brother, in the lead. We're on board here with Scott Moyer as he rockets down the TSS Red Baron front straight and into the Gilmore Homes first turn. Right in behind him, that's Daniel Medham. Just got a glimpse of the Suzuki as they head down the Visit WhanganuiNZ.com short shoot and out onto Taupo Key, which is the sharp as long haul straight this year. 64 is Adam Chambers. Mitch Rees coming under attack from the Kawasaki as they go through the crossing. So this little battle group, Mitch Rees just in the back of it. As I said before, Rees had ignition issues with the Honda in the qualifying, so he started off the very back of the grid. So now he's slowly but surely making his way to the front. That's him on the 92 on the brand new Honda Firebane, the 2021 model. 91, Richie Dibbon. First season on the Superbike. Barrack Sports Bar helping him out as across the line goes the 55 of Jaden Carrick. We're back on board here with Mitch Rees looking out the back of the bike. The number 2 is Scott Moyer out of Rotorua on the Carl Vandermeer Builders Suzuki, New Zealand Suzuki. Just up ahead of him, it is Rees as they come out of turn number 2. Here is the race leader though, and he's all on his own at the moment, and this is young Damon Rees. He spent pretty much a whole season in the British Superbikes racing a BMW, but he's quickly adapted to the Honda, and he's in the front here and in command. Jaden Carrick sits in second place. Then we go back to the 91. That is Dibbon. Behind him it is Daniel Medham. Then we go back to the 92 of Rees. Then it would be the 64 of Adam Chambers in this group, as well as the number 2 of Scott Moyer. So you could throw a blanket over the minor placings. Out in the front, still the 92 from the 55. And there he is, coming out of the Gilmore turn, down the short chute and onto the sharp as long haul straight. And that is young Damon Rees. Had his British season cut short when he injured his shoulder. Now back in New Zealand. There's older brother Mitch, still engaged in a titanic battle for the minor placings, as Damon heads down the versatile building straight and into the trade zone Robert Holden turn once again. Looks round, wonders where his opposition is. Well, we can tell him they're fairly distant as he'll come through and cruise down to the checkered flag. What a great start it's been for young Damon Rees here in the Suzuki International Series, the third and final round. Checkered flag comes out and Rees gets the win. In second place it will be Jaden Carrick, but hold all tickets because we think he might be coming under the official's eye for that supposedly jump start. So that will move Daniel Medham up into second place and Mitch Rees from the back of the field to third.
It's something I've always wanted to do after watching Dad dominate for so many years. He is the legend of Whanganui, and it's just nice to put the Rees name at the front again. Yeah, I mean, it feels really good. The bike just doesn't do a thing wrong, so just makes it easy for me. All I got to do is twist the throttle and use the brakes, eh?
Well, let's have a look at the replay of that one. 55 it was. Jaden Carrick got away first. But as we said, we suspect that may be a jump start. Have a look at this moment here for Richie Dibbon. Just about out of the saddle on the Barrack Sports Bar Suzuki. And he repeats the dose here. He is living by his wits alone here at the Cemetery Circuit, is Richie Dibbon. So official results see that it is Damon Rees in first place. A 20-second jump start penalty for Jaden Carrick takes him out of the results, so that means Medham is second, Rees third, Dibbon and Moyer. Plenty of action still to come from the Cemetery Circuit right after this. While the local council are always right behind the cemetery circuit racing and have been for years, the resurfacing and the removal of some of the notorious bumps making the track smoother and safer, but the cemetery was ready to bite the unwary. Good news, even after all this, there were no serious injuries on the day. With no obvious standouts in the supermotos this time, the class was looking for a new hero, and it found it in the long, tall shape of Jetty Josiah and his Yamaha.
I've ridden once in a year since today, so yeah, and otherwise just playing around on the motocross bike and keeping the fitness up. But yeah, no, awesome, yeah, bit of a surprise there, managed to pull it out of the bag, yep.
Josiah's riding, possibly due to COVID-19, has been confined to just the dirt, but it certainly didn't show. Getting the whole shot in race 1, he pulled away for the lead. A perfect score from Taupo's round 1 and on to Manfield's Circuit Chris Amon, where they run the supermotos anti-clockwise, and the man from Whanganui repeated the dose. This time, Jono Hamlin was closer, but still a distant second. It was the veteran Mitch Rowe in the early going that took the fight to Josiah, but it wasn't long before business as usual for the lanky Yamaha man. 2 rounds and 4 wins, the perfect score for Josiah.
Hanging out for Whanganui, it's one of the favourites, so had a bit of bad luck there last year with the bike blowing up and qualifying, so had to sit it out, but hopefully we can pull it out the bag this year.
Well, there's no doubt about it, the man to beat is the man on the Yamaha, that is Jetty Josiah. We're just looking in on Jason Clark. Mitch Rowe, the veteran, on the second row. Watch 2 for Ben Dowman on the Honda. They're just about set to turn them loose. Once again, in his 8 laps for the Supermotos, brought to you by Amerex, Delivery Unlimited, and into the front goes the 63 of Josiah, but tailing him all the way through the Gilmore Homes first turn was the Suzuki 931 there of Jono Hamlin. He got closest to him at Manfield at round 2 of the Suzuki International Series. You're on board here with Mitch Rowe, number 007, one of the veterans of Supermoto. This is Jetty Josiah, son of Russell, past New Zealand Superbike champion. In second place it's Jono Hamlin on the Suzuki, and then in third it's Rowe, and then we go back to Ben Dowman by the look of it. So once again the Whanganui lads starting to come to the fore here, but it's Tamarunui's favourite son, Jetty Josiah, in the front. You're on board here with Mitch Rowe, just recently wrapped up another veterans motocross title, now well into his 50s, is the man from Taranaki. Been riding motocross and supermotard for a long time on Husky these days, and that's him sitting in third place. Across the stripe they go of the TSS Red Baron front straight. You're on board here with James Clark on the number 10, the Honda. James is sitting in third place coming into this, the third and final round of the Suzuki International Series. Just got a glimpse of his bike there. It's a Honda and it's predominantly yellow. And James building a lot of the exhaust system and doing a lot of the engineering for some of his main rivals. Hamlin getting a little bit closer to Josiah as they work their way through the S's and up into Robert Holden, the trade zone Robert Holden. You're on board here with one of the characters from Whanganui. This is Craig Cudge Scott. Started off the supermoto trend years and years ago now. I think it was in Formula 3 back in the day when Cudge turned up on a KX500 Kawasaki, which complied with all the rules at the time, and he laid the Formula 3 field to waste. He's better known these days as the major mover and shaker of the track construction. In fact, he wouldn't have got to bed much before about 6 this morning. Such has been the construction of this circuit, because we're racing on public roads, remember. Every other day of the year. This is, well, not quite the main thoroughfare of Whanganui, but pretty close to it. Back on board here with Clark as they head down the sharp-ass long haul straight into the Suzuki crossing and heading up into the S's now. This is a battle on your screen at the moment for 5th and 6th. James Clark's just got around Craig Cudge Scott and now working on Ben Dowman. Passes Dowman up the inside. Dowman takes it straight back as they head down into the trade zone Robert Holden turn and up into the trade zone corner. Race leader, there's been a change. It's the Suzuki. You see him have a cheeky look behind to see where Jetty Josiah is. Well, he's right on him as they go over the Bridgestone Bridge. You're on board here with Mitch Rowe, and distant third place now is Mitch on the Husky. It's him, number 007. Says he's got that bike exactly as he likes it now. Been a couple of years in development for Taranaki's Mitch Rowe. Race is pretty near anything there is going. You're on board with him here as he heads up Taupo Key. Currently sitting comfortably in third place. Behind him it would be Dowman. Then in fact it'd be James Clark, and then it would possibly be Dowman. You just see them in the background, and Craig Scott in that little battle group as well. This is the race leader though, down the versatile Builders Straight and into the Robert Holden turn as we focus on third place. Mitch Rowe in and out of the trade zone corner and heading towards Hooker's curves now. Mitch sitting in third. Fourth place man is Dowman, so he's got back around both Craig Scott and James Clark as they come over the Bridgestone Bridge and down the front straight. This is the TSS Red Baron Straight, and if anything, it looked to me like Josiah getting a little bit closer to Jono Hamlin. Hamlin doing the job at the moment on the 931, the Suzuki RM450. Brought to you by Dibben Schwartz Suzuki and Physiotherapy Hand Clinic of Whanganui. This is Ben Dowman back on board here with Clark. Pretty near top gear on the Super Motard machine. Essentially motocross bikes that have been fettled and developed to race on the roads. They put smaller wheels on them, obviously slick tyres. Sometimes they lessen the massive suspension travel that motocross bikes have these days. And you have a very competitive machine. On board with Clarkie, going through Robert Holden. Currently sitting in 5th or 6th place with laps to run in this one. Amerex bring it to you, delivery unlimited. Long-time supporters of the Super Motard class as we go back to the front of the field. No sign of the white flag, so laps left to run as Josiah starts to put on a little bit of a charge as they head down into the Gilmore Homes turn number 1. There is Clark, there is Cudge Scott. We're on board here with Craig Scott. Just up ahead of him, it is Clark. We go back to the front of the field, coming out of the crossing and into the S's now. Still the Suzuki. Jetty Josiah getting a little bit closer, but he just hasn't quite got the weaponry to put the attack on Jono Hamlin on the Suzuki out in the front. You recognise those leathers, they're the ex-Andrew Stroud leathers. Andrew Stroud, a long, lanky person in his own right, and when Jetty was looking for leathers, Andrew Stroud's cast-offs were the only ones that fit him. Across the Bridgestone Bridge they come once again, white flag out, and these two have cleared away. In third place, still the veteran Mitch Rowe. Then we go back to Ben Dowman and James Clark, but it is still this battle we concentrate on. The Suzuki of Jono Hamlin, number 931, right in behind him, the 63 of Jetty Desire, unbeaten at Taupo and also Manfield, but sitting in second place for the moment. You're on board here with James Clark. Just ahead of him, it is the man they call Cudge, and that is Craig Scott. As I said, a forerunner of Supermoto. The fact when Cudge was riding his Kawasaki round the cemetery circuit, there was no such thing as Supermoto, and he's still doing it, and he's still one of the fastest there, the 62 of Craig Scott. Down the inside comes Clark, so he picks up the spot. You're on board here with Mitch Rowe, heading into Robert Holden, and that is Ben Dowman down the inside of Rowe. Just runs it a little bit wide, and I think Mitch is going to take it straight back again. No, he doesn't. Another brilliant move coming from Ben Dowman, just about cut the water off of Mitch Rowe. He has a look behind to see that Mitch is still up on two wheels. We can tell him that he is, as these two cross the Bridgestone Bridge, as the leader comes across and gets a checkered flag, and it is Jono Hamlin getting the win in the Amerex Supermoto. In second place it will be the points leader, and that is number 63. Thumbs up to Hamlin from Jetty Josiah, and in third place it will be Mitch Rowe, just hanging on by the skin of his teeth from Ben Dowman.
Yeah, I actually suffered from a bit of arm pump actually, which was terrible, but hey, it was fun. Jim's done well.
Hey, congratulations, and a few beers later on might soothe that arm pump for you. Congrats, mate.
So officially the results have Jono Hamlin in the front from Jetty Josiah, Mitch Rowe, Ben Dowman, and in fifth it is James Clark. We've got to take a break, but still to come, the F2s and the sidecars here at Whanganui. Defending champion Rogan Chandler took up where he left off for this year's Suzuki International Series in the F2 class. Finally getting his starts nailed, he pulled away with what looked like ease for a classy win in race 1.
I usually never get good starts, so we've been working on that a lot, me and my dad, so I'm super happy. It's like my first ever whole shot in the 600 class, so yeah, finally got the start sorted, and that seemed to be the key to what helped me, ride a bit better. It's easier to lead from the front than trying to fight your way through.
Leading from the front is what Chandler tried to do in race 2, but to do that he had to pass the Triumph 675 of Dale Finch. And that's exactly what he did, only to have Finch pass him back and go on for the win.
Well, back sweeper, I knew I was always getting better drive out of there from Rogan, so I knew if I just sat behind him most of the race, last lap I could just get the drive out of there.
At Manfield it was again Finch blasting off the line, but his race would only last 3 laps. When Chandler did hit the front, he pulled out a big lead over newcomer and the find of the series thus far, Zach Fuller, with Avalon Biddle through in 3rd.
Yeah, well, it's a good cushion at the moment, and you know, if we can wrap up the second race, you know, with a good finish, first or second, or whatever we come away with, then yeah, I can head into Whanganui with a bit of a buffer and not so stressful on that day.
For the second and final F2 race of the day at Manfield, it was New Zealand's First Lady of Motorcycling, Avalon Biddle, on her MTF Kawasaki that led early. When Chandler threw it away at the sweeper, that gave Dale Finch the lead and the win from a hard-charging Avalon Biddle. Zach Fuller again finding the podium on his Rees Honda. It would also give Avalon the points lead, and with it, a change of heart about racing at Whanganui.
Yeah, it's a little more serious this year. Last year I came just to give it a go, see what Cemetery Circuit was all about, and I wasn't actually planning on coming this year, but leading the points, everything's going really well with the bike, and great support from MTF Finance once again, so I thought let's be part of the show and put it on for the crowd.
An up and down series for Auckland's Toby Summers, but the Cemetery is where he always has shone in the past.
Wasn't quite as quick as I'd like to be in qualifying. We've qualified 4th, which is not too bad. It's front row on the outside, so it's not a bad spot, just depends how I can get out the gate. So yeah, I'll give it everything I've got and hopefully come out with some results.
That clumsy crash at Manfield had cost Rogan Chandler the points lead and maybe shaken his confidence, but you wouldn't know it.
I've never been that fast here, but you know, qualified pole this morning and I'm feeling really good on the bike, so I think I can run that pace for the whole race, and yeah, I think it's all about just clawing some points back on her and trying to keep Toby behind me, really.
The find of the series on the Rees Honda 600 was Taupo's multiple Gixxer 150 champion, Zach Fuller.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable, really. Didn't think I'd be here straight away off the gun, and yeah, just backed it up this morning with P2 and qualifying at Whanganui. So yeah, it's started off to be a good day. Yeah.
So this is race 1 of the Formula 2, brought to you by iPone, on 100% motorcycle. Just waiting for the field to grid up. Have a look there for number 6, that's David Hall. Alongside him, number 11, Seth Devereaux, for all the way from Invercargill. Watch 2 for Avalon Biddle, that's her on the second row. And watch 2 for number 80, he's been the find of the series so far, and that is young Zach Fuller. But it is the 15 of Rogan Chandler on the Yamaha that leads them through as we go on board here with Chandler, and that's Dale Finch that's gone down the inside of him on the Scott Structural Triumph. On board here with Chandler as they head down the sharp as long haul straight. The Triumph glued to the back of the Yamaha of Chandler. Through the Suzuki crossing they go. Looks like Seth Devereaux on the MV Augusta through in 3rd place. And then we might have got the first glimpse of David Hall. Hall riding 2 classes today here at Whanganui. So he's been out on the superbikes to see him on the F2s as well. On board here with Seth Devereaux on the Helicraft Racing MV Augusta. It's him back in about 3rd place at the moment over the Bridgestone Bridge for the first of 8 times. Goes the F2 field. On board here with Avalon Biddle, making her second visit to the Cemetery Circuit. She was a bit overawed by it last year, I'm sure. She will let you know. But this time she comes in as the points leader in F2. So out of turn 1 comes Rogan Chandler. You're on board here with Toby Summers taking the unusual shot as they head down the sharp as long haul straight. Looking at the back of the bike of Summers, that's the number 80 of Zach Fuller. What a find he's been in F2. Podiums at Manfield and Taupo in rounds 2 and 1. As you're on board here with Fuller heading into the Robert Holden turn, down the Versatile building straight he comes, or just getting a little bit sideways on the Tony Rees CBR 600. Race leader continues to be the 15 of Rogan Chandler. 17, Dale Finch in second place. The Scott Structural Triumph, 6.75. Back on board here with Fuller. Ahead of him, it is the Carl Cox Motorsport machine of Toby Summers. Fuller's got a full head of steam as he heads down into the Gilmore Holmes turn 1, and he might have got ahead of Summers here. You go back on board here, looking out the back of Zach Fuller's Honda, and that is filled with the number 22 of Summers. So a position change for young Zach Fuller. Heading through the Suzuki crossing is the 15 of Chandler. Getting a little bit closer was the 17 of Finch. Down the inside of Seth Devereaux on the 11 comes the 6 of David Hall, a standout for the last few seasons on the 600cc machines. And they're the bikes that make up the F2 class here in the Suzuki International Series. On board here with Devereaux, and he gets his pocket picked as well, and that's young Zach Fuller. So Fuller's picked up a couple of spots in the space of a lap. On board, looking out the back of the Rees Motorcycles, Honda CBR 600, and you see Seth Devereaux. So 15, 17, 6, 80, 11 and 22 would be the order at the moment at the front of the 600 field. There is number 6, the Goodyear Racing Kawasaki of David Hall. Oh, and he just gets tossed out of the seat as they come through turn 2. And that is the Mars Pet Care corner. Meantime, back on board here with Zach Fuller, and he puts the acid on Hall. Hall comes straight back at him as they head down the Versatile Builders Straight. On the inside, it's the 80, the Honda of Zach Fuller. He's got track position. He takes the spot. Hall tries to take it straight back, but he can't do it. So Zach Fuller clawing his way toward the front of the field. Hall certainly not giving it up without a fight as they're side by side heading for the Bridgestone Bridge this time around. No change at the front of the field. Still the 15 of Chandler leading it. You're on board here with Zach Fuller. Right in behind him, it is the 6 of Tawamutu's David Hall. Couldn't get any closer as they head into Gilmore Holmes turn number 1 and down the short chute and into the Mars Pet Care turn. This battle on your screen, the battle for 3rd and 4th. Out in front, it's still the 15 from the 17. Back on board with Fuller as he goes around the Suzuki crossing. Plenty of people in the hospitality enjoying Suzuki's compliments and the racing here at a sun-drenched Whanganui. Up through the cemetery that gives this circuit its name, the Head Cemetery. This great battle going on between the Honda and the Kawasaki for the minors. All the while, they're just starting to get a little bit closer to Dale Finch. That's him in second place. Just saw him at the front of the shot there. They head over the Bridgestone Bridge once again. So it's 15, 17, 80 and 6 the order. On board here with Fuller. Down the TSS Red Baron Straight they come. There is David Hall on the Kawasaki. Last year, of course, he was Suzuki mounted. He's on a Suzuki in the Superbikes, but it's the Kawasaki green. He races around the circuit here at the cemetery. Avalon Biddle started off the second row. She's got a bit of work to do as she rounds up a couple in front of her down the Visit WhanganuiNZ.com straight. So just trying to close in on Tarbin Walker on the 21. Also in that group, the number 20, Dion Telford on the MV, and Jeff Crute on the 99, the Honda. Back on board here with Avalon as she comes around the Suzuki crossing and up into the S's, the 50, the MTF Kawasaki. 2 seasons ago, she was the 600 sports champion outright in New Zealand. Didn't have a very good season last year. She was blighted by some injuries, but now coming back to her very best. And as I said, she was the points leader going into this one. You're on board once again with Zach Fuller, currently sitting in 3rd place. Make it 2nd place now, because I think he's just got past the 17 of Dale Finch. There is the race leader. That is Rogan Chandler. This will put him back into the points lead, I would think, as one more race to go. So it is the 80 up into 2nd now. That's Zach Fuller on the Rees Motorcycle Honda. And then we go back to the 17, and that is Dale Finch. So Finch must have made a little bit of a mistake out there on the Scott Structural Triumph. On board here with Toby Summers. And he's kind of the meat caught in the sandwich at the moment as they come out of the trade zone turn, head towards the Hooker Transport curves now. And that is Seth Devereaux. He's about to put a position behind. Devereaux comes straight back at him as they go over the Bridgestone Bridge. And that would be just outside the top 5 at the moment. So maybe 5th and 6th you're watching on your screen. This is the 22 of Toby Summers on the R&R Powersport Carl Cox machine. Just ahead of him, it is Seth Devereaux on the Helicraft Racing Joe's Garage MV Augusta. So we're back on board here with Avalon Biddle. It's taken her a while, but she finally gets up the inside of Tarbin Walker on the 21. And the 99 there of Croot trying to go with Biddle, just can't quite go her pace at the moment. So Avalon's starting to make her way toward the front as the laps wind down here in the iPone 100% motorcycle Formula 2 race 1 here at the Cemetery Circuit. Third and final race of the Suzuki Series for 2020, and it's the Wellingtonian Rogan Chandler on the Yamaha R6 that gets the win. In second place it's the number 80, and that is Zach Fuller, and in third place it would be Dale Finch on the Scott Structural Triumph.
I usually don't do too great here, so we came here this morning and Robert's been working with the YC suspension in the rear, and the bike's just unreal, like it just can't put a foot wrong. So I'm pretty happy to finally actually win a race at Whanganui and instead of cruising around, so now I'm happy as.
So Rogan Chandler gets a win under the belt here at Whanganui. In second place it is Zach Fuller. Third place goes to Dale Finch, and in fourth it's David Hall. In fifth place on the MV Augusta is Steve Devereaux. Still to come here at Whanganui, we've got the amazing sidecars. That's right after the break. As is customary in the Suzuki International Series, the F1 and F2 sidecars race together, but are scored separately, creating exciting racing right down the field. At the front of the F1 field, F2 defending champion Barry Smith on the Carl Cox LCR. But it wasn't Tracy Bryant swinging for him. Instead, it was his old closest rival, Stu Dorr, who was last seen with Adam Unsworth. Unsworth, who took the fight to Smith, now had Bryce Rose on the side of his rig.
So keen on the F1 round Whanganui. I prefer to ride the F2, but obviously if we're leading the F1 points, even if we just trundle around, yeah, that's probably what we'll need to do just to keep the bike safe and ourselves safe.
At Manfield's round 2, the battles got even closer, with Unsworth and Smith nearly trading paint. An engine explosion and the resulting fire in the second sidecar race meant that race had to be declared. When Barry and partner Stu saw the improvements to the track at Whanganui, they were happy to be on the F1 chair.
The alterations they've done to the track has kind of relieved a little bit of the tension I had about bringing the F1 here. One of the big bumps that could cause a potential problem has been taken out, and we've just done qualifying, and it's actually a whole lot nicer to ride round turn 1 and 2 now than it was before.
The Carl Cox name also featured in the F2 class, with Tracy Bryan and Joe Mickelson second in the F2s heading to Whanganui.
So we raced together for about 4 years before I moved to Australia, or 5 years. And then I broke up the team, unfortunately, and moved overseas for a bit, did my OE, and when I came back I was on classics with my father for consistently, but I always wanted to get back on F2s. So
Carl said I could ride this, so I thought there was only one person I'd ask. So yeah, so we just hope to get both bikes up on the podium at some point, and that's the plan.
So we're set for a start in the first sidecar race of the day, brought to you by Carl Cox Motorsport. There is the 12 of them, Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. 69 leading in the F2s, that is Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. We get set to go and watch for the 73. That is Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. And it is the 73 that will head into the Gilmore Homes turn 1 in first place. Right in behind them is Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose, and in third place, a great start for the F2 machine of Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. They head down the sharp as Long Haul Straight and into the Suzuki Crossing. On board here with Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. As we said, there's been a bit of a change of the guard because Stu Dorr now swinging for Barry Smith. Always in the past has swung for Adam Unsworth, both those boys local Wanganuiites, but there's been a change. Stu hurt himself pretty badly a few seasons ago at a crash in Taupo and decided to give it away, and Adam too put the bike in the shed for a little while. Those days it was powered by a Honda, now it's powered by an Aprilia, as you're on board here looking into the face of Stu Dorr. Right in behind him, his old driving partner, and that is Adam Unsworth, and Unsworth getting a little bit closer there and still moving up into third place. It is the 69, and that is Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Down the short chute they come, and number 12 trying to climb into the boot of the LCR, the 73 machine, and that is Adam Unsworth, as I said, powered by an Aprilia motorcycle engine. This is the Carl Cox 73. Barry, the defending F2 champion with Tracy Bryan. Tracy riding with Joe Mickelson. She's second on points in the F2 competition. Remember, F1 and F2 together, but scored separately. Adam Unsworth trying to get a little bit closer, just a little bit ragged coming out of the trade zone corner as you're on board here now with Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. Look how close they get to the 73 rig, but they just can't quite make the pass stick as they go through the hooker curves and head up over the Bridgestone Bridge. So it's as close as you like at the front of the field here for the Carl Cox Motorsport F1 and F2 sidecars. Stu Dorr leans over as they head down into the Gilmore Homes turn 1, taking slightly different line there, but closing up the gap as Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. This combination working very, very well, and they've picked up a little bit more space between themselves and the 73 of Smith and Dorr as you ride here with Stu Dorr and Barry Smith. Out of the Suzuki crossing they come once again, and now it's the 12 that's set to pounce, trying to go down the inside as they head under the Emmets Powerco Bridge and up into the Robert Holden corner. It's on for young and old here in the sidecars. It's the 73 of Barry Smith and Stu Dorr looking out the back of the LCR, the Carl Cox LCR. You see the number 12, the Boss Engineering Wheel Magician number 12, the Aprilia of Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. Once again getting closer as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge. If anything, it looks like Smith just has a slight advantage as they head down the TSS Red Baron front straight and into the Gilmore Homes turn number 1. This time though the 12 leaves the braking a little bit on the early side. This is the battle for 3rd and 4th on your screen. Spike Taylor and Kerry Pitt just in behind them now. It is the 69 of Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Now Michelle McLean is a paramedic, works for the Rescue Helicopter Trust, and she would be, I would think, if she was 60 kilograms ringing wedge, she'd be lucky. So she's one of the smallest swingers we've got. As you have a look at the past New Zealand champion Spike Taylor on the Penrite rig. Kelly Pitt doing the swinging for him. We go back to the front of the field and a terrible slide for Adam Unsworth. Well, that's cost him any chance, I think, of maybe getting the win here. Just got it a little bit wrong coming out of the trade zone corner. Got very, very sideways indeed. Luckily missed the curb, but look at the advantage he's given away as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge once again. This is the first of the F2s. This is Mark Hall and Michelle McLean. And Mark was poised to live his dream and go to Europe and race sidecars in Europe, but then unfortunately something called COVID-19, which turned into a worldwide pandemic, put the kibosh on that and nearly put the kibosh on the whole motorcycle season here in New Zealand. We're lucky that our government has had the foresight to rein in the disease, or we wouldn't be here at Whanganui. 28 is Tracy Bryan and Joe Mickelson. They're second in the F2 competition. And then behind them, it's the 76 of Bruce Roberts and Jim Bilby. And I think I would say without contradiction that they'd be the oldest combination here in the Carl Cox Motorsport sidecars. On board here with Roberts and Bilby as they head down into the Suzuki crossing over the railway line. Certainly not the huge obstacle it was back in the day. We're celebrating the 70th year of racing here at the Cemetery Circuit. As on board we go with Bruce Roberts and Jim Bilby heading through the Head Cemetery up into the Robert Holden corner. They're chasing down the girls, and that is Tracy Bryan and Joe Mickelson. Joe regularly competing with her father, Neville, in classic sidecars. And of course, as we said, Tracy paired up with Barry last year to win the F2s. They're second in points at the moment to Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Still doing a pretty good job in the Carl Cox Motorsport 600cc machine. That's the difference between the F1 and the F2. This is the F1 machine leading the race. This is Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. Unbelievably, what a comeback it's been for Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose, because they've closed up the gap once again as they go through the trade zone corner on the race leaders. You're on board here with Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. Just look how gymnastically gifted you have to be to ride one of these things very, very fast. And look at this, the 12 is right back on the tail of the 73 and no sign of the white flag, so there's plenty of laps left to run. 73, Barry Smith and Stu Dorr leading Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose as they head down the Visit WhanganuiNZ.com straight. Oh, and getting very wild coming out onto Taupo Key that time was the 12. Just shows how hard that Adam Unsworth is trying. He always performs in front of the home crowd. Both Stu Dorr and Adam Unsworth, Whanganuiites. Great to see them racing again here around the Cemetery Circuit, but this time not paired together. They're rivals as they head down into the Robert Holden turn once again. The 12 gets a little bit closer, gets a good drive coming out of Robert Holden, and they at one stage close enough to touch Stu Dorr as they head through the trade zone corner and down through the hooker transport curves once again. 73 holds onto it. Over the Bridgestone Bridge they come this time. Will we see the white flag? Is it going to be the dance of the desperates for Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose? They've got to do something about it this lap, because we do see the white flag. It's the 73 in control, but carrying huge speed. Oh, and a problem there for Barry Smith, and we've got a leader change, and we're on the last lap. Well, that is a model of tenacity for Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose, because they've gone into the front, and who says they can't hold it? Down into the Suzuki crossing they come. The Boss Engineering, Aprilia powered Windle. In behind them it's the Carl Cox Motorsport LCR of Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. But out in the front is Adam Unsworth. To think that Unsworth and Dorr used to be partnered up, and now they're the bitterest of rivals, and if anything the 12's starting to get away. You're right here with Unsworth and Rose as they work their way through the trade zone corner for the last time. Through the Hooker Transport curves they come now. Checkered flag will be out for the combination on the number 12. What a comeback in the first of the Carl Cox Motorsport sidecar events, and the win goes to Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. In second place it will be Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. And is Adam Unsworth happy with that? You bet your life he is. The Whanganui boy performing in front of a home crowd. He will be over the moon with that performance.
Oh mate, I tell you, that's you know, born and bred Whanganui, mate. It's nothing like coming back home and winning your home race, is it? You know, it's just yeah, speechless at the moment. But look, yeah, Bryce just doing an outstanding job on the back. Yeah, we had a massive moment and sort of just picked a bad line there, and the front end got away on us, and yeah, lucky to save it and stay in the race. So now just patient, just chipped away, and I could see them coming close and close. So no, we'll just keep chipping away, you know. And so yeah, but look, Mass, I just want to say a huge thanks to our team. You know, finally we get a win for the team, and that's the most important thing in our day today.
So official results see that Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose get the win from Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. In third place it's Spike Taylor and Kelly Pitt, and in fourth and the first of the F2 machine is Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Coverage of the Suzuki International Series is brought to you by Suzuki. Welcome to episode 2 of our continuing coverage of the Suzuki International Series finale here at the Cemetery Circuit. On today's show, action from the very impressive sidecars. We've got some Formula 2 action for you. Of course, we've got another race in the Formula 1 Superbikes. And of course, the feature event, the Robert Holden Memorial. Plus, we'll have some Gixxer action and some beers. So settle in for a great afternoon of motorcycling action here on CRC Motorsport. So we zoom in on number 11, that is Seth Devereaux from Invercargill, as we get set to turn them loose for race number 2 for the F2, or the 600 Sports Productions as they're known in the New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships. And it's the find of the series, in my humble opinion. That's bike number 80, and that's Zach Fuller that's gone out into an early lead. Second place looks to be Toby Summers on the 22. That's the Carl Cox Motorsport bike. And just in behind him, the series points leader after a good performance in the first race, and that would be Rogan Chandler. On board here with the Rees Motorcycles, Honda New Zealand CBR 600 of Zach Fuller. In behind him it is 22, and that is Toby Summers. Toby having a bit of an up and down season in the Suzuki International Series. Here's that unusual camera position as we track the progress of young Zach Fuller. What a find this young man has been. Past Gixxer Cup champion, and then third in the Pro Twins last year. Made the step up to the 600s with Team Rees, Team Roadkill as they're known, and leading this very, very packed field here in the F2s. There is Summers. Carl Cox Motorsport Kawasaki. Right in behind him it's the Yamaha of Rogan Chandler. He's part of the Blue Crew. And then we go back to another surprise package, and that's number 17. That's Dale Finch from Christchurch. And he is riding the 675 Triumph. And he's another one that's stunned a few people. If he hadn't had a crash at the first round in Taupo, he would have been running right up in the points. And down the inside of Toby Summers he goes, and they both pick the pocket of Rogan Chandler. So the Triumph on the move, and that is Dale Finch, comes from a speedway background. The 17, 22, as we said, Toby Summers, and then it's the 15, that's Rogan Chandler. You're looking out the back of Toby Summers' machine and right into the face of Rogan Chandler. Had an unfortunate crash at Manfield's round 2, and that cost them the series points lead. The series points leader coming here to Whanganui is Avalon Biddle, the First Lady of New Zealand Motorcycling. She's back a ways in the pack at the moment. They head down the Sharp As long haul straight Taupo Key into the Suzuki crossing. Over the railway line they come now. 17, Dale Finch. 22, Toby Summers. And 15, this is Rogan Chandler. And joining the party too, bike number 6, and that's David Hall, last year on a 600. David doing double duty this weekend at Whanganui because he'll be in the superbike class as well. He's changed allegiances. Currently sitting back there. Remember, this battle on your screen is 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. And about to join the party once again will be the number 11 of Seth Devereaux, back on board here with Toby Summers looking out the back of his Carl Cox Motorsport machine. There is the 17, that's Finch. Down the inside of Summers comes the 15 of Rogan Chandler. Remember, the race leader continues to be Zach Fuller out of Taupri, ex-motocross racer, ex-Gixxer Cup champion, and as I said, 3rd in the Pro Twins in the NZSBK last year. He's made the move up to the 600s, and he's disappeared from the rest of the field in this one. On board as they go under the Emmets pedestrian bridge once more and head towards the Robert Holden turn, the trade zone Robert Holden turn. On board now with the Helicraft Racing MV Augusta of Seth Devereaux. So Seth coming back to his very best after a bit of an injury for shortened season last year. So back to the race leader as he heads down the TSS Red Baron Straight and into the Gilmore Homes turn number 1. As I said, he's left them all to it. Look at the gap he's got over number 17, Dale Finch. Although Dale Finch looks like he might be closing him down just a little bit as we take the pictures here as they come down the Whanganui NZ.com straight. This is Toby Summers, just about to be passed by his nemesis from the last couple of seasons in the 600 racing, and that is the number 6, and that is David Hall from Tawamutu. Seth Devereaux also starting to mount an attack as they work their way along Heads Roads, the versatile building straight into the trade zone Robert Holden turn they go. This is Hall, right in behind him Summers, then we go back to the 11 of Devereaux. So just coming out of the trade zone corner heading towards the Hookers Curves is the 15 of Rogan Chandler, currently sitting in 3rd place, and behind him it's David Hall. Back on board here with Seth Devereaux as he tries to make a move down the TSS Red Baron front straight into the Gilmore Homes turn 1. Gets a little bit closer to Toby Summers. There you get a graphic example of it as they head down the short chute, and the 11 now all over the back of the Kawasaki of Toby Summers. One half, if you like, of Mad Love Media. Toby's wife Kirsten taking some amazing photos of all the racing around the country. And Toby involved in most of it. Devereaux getting a little bit closer as they go under the Emmets Bridge, head down the versatile Builders Straight into the trade zone Robert Holden turn once again. This beautiful Helicraft MV Augusta. Joe's Garage came on board this season as a co-sponsor as well. Looking out the front of the MV now. And this is a part of the circuit where Toby's a little bit quicker than most of them as he'll pick up the man in front of him, and that will be David Hall. Back on board here with Devereaux. So just 8 laps, so it's virtually a sprint around this 1.6 kilometre circuit, just over a mile in the old language. iPhone bring you the Formula 2 action as out onto the Sharp As long haul straight we come once again. Having a look at the front wheel of Toby Summers' Kawasaki. Here's the battle for the minors, and David Hall's got right up onto the back of Rogan Chandler here as they head into Robert Holden once more. This battle for 3rd and 4th. Still, Zach Fuller out in the front from Dale Finch. Here is Zach Fuller, all on his own as he heads down the TSS Red Baron Straight. White flag out, so one to go for the youngster to maybe claim his first victory in the Suzuki International Series. Been on the podium at Taupo in round 1 and also Manfield, but I don't think he's won one yet. This could be the day for Zach Fuller. Has joined the Tony Rees team, the Roadkill Racing team, as their apprentice, if you like. Gee whiz, he's certainly made believers of a few as he has laid this field to waste. He's the youngster from Taupri. We'll see his sister out in the Gixxer Cup a little bit later on the 150 Suzuki, but at the moment it's all about Zach Fuller as through the trade zone corner he goes in complete control of this. Got there from the whole shot and hasn't been headed. Bike number 80, the Honda New Zealand Tony Rees Motorcycles CBR 600 is going to take out race number 2 for the iPhone Formula 2s, and he does it easily. Second across the line should be the 17 of Dale Finch, and in 3rd place it should be Rogan Chandler.
Yeah, to finish off the Suzuki Series with a win going into Nationals is pretty cool, eh? First season on the 600 and yeah, already winning races, so can't be more happy.
So officially it is Zach Fuller gets his first win in the Suzuki International Series from Dale Finch from the South Island, Rogan Chandler from Wellington, and then Te Awamutu's David Hall. In 5th place, Toby Summers. Welcome back to the Cemetery Circuit. It's the 3rd and final round of the Suzuki Series. Next up, it is the Carl Cox Motorsports sidecars. Plenty of people enjoying the sunshine here at Whanganui. This is the 70th edition of this amazing race. And boy, we've seen some action, certainly in the sidecars as we zoom in on the number 12 first heat winner, and that is Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. Away we go. So second heat of the sidecars brought to you by Carl Cox. Of course, because of the COVID-19, no Carl Cox here at Whanganui today, but he did send all his team members a communique saying, one, he wished them all the very best of luck, and two, he would love to have been in the sunshine at Whanganui. Out of the second turn and out onto the sharp as long haul straight goes the 73 of Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. Second place looked to be the number 12, the first heat winners, and that's Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. Already they've started to clear away a little bit from the best of the 600 runners, and that would be Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. These two resume competition, or resume the battle that they had in the first heat, and boy, what a battle it was. And in the end, the bike we're riding with here, or the machine we're riding with here, the Aprilia Boss engineering number 12 of Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose came out on top, but not without a little bit of bashing and crashing as they head down the TSS Red Baron Straight once more. It is the 600 champions from last season in the Suzuki Series, and that is Barry Smith. And Barry Smith runs a little bit wide, and that's allowed Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose to get up the inside of them as they go down the visitwanganuinz.com straight and out onto the Taupo Quay once again. You're back on board here, Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. Barry would be one of the fittest guys racing here this weekend. There's a lot of trail running, a lot of adventure running and things, keeps himself in tip-top shape. And I guess you have to when you're wheeling these monsters around the track. This 1.6 kilometre circuit that makes up the Cemetery Circuit. Number 12, Adam Unsworth, a Whanganui boy, but now living in Auckland. Out in the front, Barry Smith sits in second place. The Carl Cox Motorsport LCR, the Honda-powered machine. Up ahead of them is the Aprilia of Unsworth and Rose. Remember, you know the story if you watched part one of our coverage. Adam used to partner with Stu Dorr on the Windle, but now, of course, they've split camps. On board here with Spike Taylor and Kerry Pitt, past New Zealand champions, just going past Mark Halls as they go down the TSS Red Baron Straight and into the Gilmore Holmes turn, which is essentially turn one here at Whanganui. Spike always had a sponsorship with Mobility Wairarapa, and this year picked up some Penrite money as well. This is Kelly Pitt doing the swinging as they work their way through the Suzuki crossing over the railway line and up toward the Emmets pedestrian bridge. 17, Spike Taylor sitting in third place. Mark Halls and Michelle McLean back in fourth, and these four really have cleared away. Back in fifth place it would be Darryl Williams and Brian Flynn, I would think. They're a long way behind this combination. Spike Taylor, Kelly Pitt, Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Michelle is a paramedic. She's one of those brave souls that jumps out of hovering helicopters to rescue people, and she's a tiny little thing, so she'll be working overtime to one, keep Mark under control and keep their 600 rig under control as well. Back on board here with Spike Taylor and Kelly Pitt, currently sitting in third. It's a bit of a distant third at the moment, but it's good points for the Suzuki Series. Just how fit and agile you have to be a swinger. And that's what we call the pilot, or the navigator I should say, on the sidecars. Under the Emmets Bridge they go down the Versatile Building Straight, heading to the Robert Holden corner. Kelly just hugging the right-hand side of the machine as Spike banks it into the trade zone corner once again and into the hooker curves. Just got a glimpse of the man in second place, and at the moment that would be Barry Smith and Stu Dorr up ahead of them on yet another LCR. This is an LCR out of Switzerland. Here is the race leader, number 12, Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. They're on the Boss Engineering F1 Aprilia powered machine. And if anything, I think Barry Smith's getting a little bit closer. Once again, we're on board here, going down the sharp as long haul straight through the Suzuki crossing over what was once the very notorious railway line, now tame by comparison to what it was in the 80s. But still a bit of a test for man and machine, certainly on these things. Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose, your race leaders. There is the 73 just in behind them. That's Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. And they're getting a little bit closer now. as they head through the trade zone corner once again and the hooker transport curves to complete yet another lap. It happens pretty quickly here, under the minute now for the sidecars. Best time about the 54-second mark. Bruce Roberts and Jim Bilby, the oldest combination out there, also on the big Suzuki. Saw these two compete with distinction at the Mike Perro Southern Classic at Levels Raceway in Timaru a month or two ago now. And Jim's son, Charlie, also a sidecar exponent, normally in the classic cars. But here is Bruce Roberts and Jim Bilby. You're watching in on Jim Bilby as he gets to move over to the left-hand side of the machine as they come over the Bridgestone Bridge. These guys currently sitting just inside the top 10 in 7th place, heading down towards the Gilmore Homes first turn. Back on board here with Barry Smith sitting in second. Now, are my eyes deceiving me, or are they getting a bit closer? They're getting a whole lot closer as we go back to the onboard, looking out the back of the Aprilia, and you can see how close it is now. Barry Smith doesn't want to come second again. He'd love to win this one and square the ledger here as they go through turn 1 here at Whanganui. Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose in the front. Barry Smith, Stu Dorr in second place. Just about clipping the curb with the front wheel as they head down the Sharp As Long Haul Straight once again, and there's nothing in this. And you would say, looking at it, these machines pretty near evenly matched. Nobody gives or asks any quarter, and for the moment it's Adam Unsworth calling the shots. Past the head cemetery they go into the Versatile Building Straight, now onto the brakes and down through the gearbox for the Robert Holden Memorial. Barry Smith just gets a little bit closer again. Maybe he's going to the brakes just a fraction later than what we're seeing from Adam. Keep an eye on this battle as they head down towards the hooker transport curves and back to the Bridgestone overbridge once more. First heat winner, and it was a ding-dong battle between these two. White flag about to come out this time, so 1 to go. If Barry Smith's going to do anything, he's got to do it this lap, or he's going to be content to be second again. Into the Gilmore Homes, turn 1 goes to number 12, the Boss Engineering. Wheel Magician, Aprilia sidecar. In second place, Carl Cox Motorsport, LCR, Honda-powered LCR of Barry Smith, the current F2 champion in the Suzuki Series, past New Zealand champion along with Tracy Bryan. Tracy's in this field with Joe Mickelson on the 600cc machine. Haven't seen too much of them in this one. It's all about the battle at the front of the field. Smith looking to gather the forces for a bit of a challenge here. Round through Robert Holden they go for the last time, looking a lot more tidy than the previous lap as Adam Unsworth, and he squeaks out a bit of an advantage, but then probably leaves the braking a little bit late and a wee bit untidy coming through the trade zone corner. Not enough to open the door though for Barry Smith as they head over the Bridgestone Bridge once again. Barry Smith and Stu Dorr trail the race leaders and now the race winners. Number 12 makes it 2 for 2 here at Whanganui, so congratulations to Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. They win it, and you can guarantee there'll be some celebrations here. As I said, originally a Whanganui boy.
Massive thanks to the boys over in Noale and Italy, you know, and you know, we're just stoked to put Aprilia, you know, numero uno.
Congratulations, look forward to watching at NZSPK, and everyone here wants to know, does a sidecar do a burnout?
Well, they do, but rear tyres are very expensive.
Congratulations, Adam Unsworth, Bryce Rose.
Well, clearly Bryce Rose wants to start them young in the sidecars. His child just getting a bit of a taste of the action here at Whanganui for the Cemetery Circuit. Adam Unsworth gets the win from Barry Smith in second place. Then it was Spike Taylor and Kelly Pitt. And then behind them it was Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. They were the first of the 600s from Darryl Williams and Brian Flynn. Two top 10 finishes at round 1 and then an unfortunate crash at Manfield's round 2 probably dashed the hopes of local lad Sam Willisey title-wise, but here on his home track he was unbeatable in the QS Formula Sport Bears. This class matches up older New Zealand spec superbikes and machines from the British, European, American Racing Series. The son of promoter Alan Willisey set fastest qualifying time on his Suzuki 750 and won both bike races. Chased all the way by number 48 Dwayne Bishop on his Aprilia RSV4 and Bears veteran Mark Perry on another RSV4. Willisey, who has had racing experience in the UK and Northern Ireland, made the Cemetery Circuit his own, taking out race 1 easily. same, even though in the early going it was Dwayne Bishop that held the lead. And when Willisey hit the front, it was Bishop again that was doing the chasing. What looked like a carbon copy of race 1 was shortened. The leaders had no problems getting around the Gilmore Holmes turn 1, but the man in 5th place, not so much. That resulting crash meant the race was shortened. And that meant 2 for 2 for Sam Willisey here at the Cemetery Circuit. First run in 2017, the one-make Suzuki Gixxer Cup has lived up to its reputation of growing future champions. As a look at the entry list of this year's Suzuki International Series, we'll find plenty of riders that started on the small 150s. Riding the number 33, Christchurch's Caleb Gilmore may be the next emerging talent, leading the field out onto Taupo Key. Chased all the way in the early going by the 5 of Justin Maunder and the 24 of Hamish Simpson. With only 15 horsepower on tap, the secret to racing the 150s is carrying speed, and that's what Gilmore was doing. In second place now was the number 5 of Justin Maunder. And in third, Zach Fuller's young sister, Billy. It was status quo as they completed yet another lap here around the Cemetery Circuit. But all was about to change. Simpson threw it away at the trade zone corner, and that meant that Billy Fuller would move up onto the podium. 33, Caleb Gilmore would take the win in the first Gixxer Cup. And we saw the unusual sight of a single motorcycle alone on the front straight. So this is the start of race number 2 for the Superbikes, brought to you by Reacher Premium European Motorcycle Apparel, and the one to beat is bike number 92, and that is Damon Rees. It's him on the Honda as they head down into turn 1. Just one going a little bit wide there. I think that might have been David Hall. So it is the number 2 that slots into second place, and that is Scott Moy. You're riding here with Damon Rees looking at the back of the 1000cc Honda. There he is, 92 in the front. He won the first one going away. Is he going to be able to repeat the dose here at heat number 2 for the Formula 1? The Superbikes here at Whanganui. On board here with the man in second place. This is Taupo's Scott Moyer on the Carl Vandermeer Builders Suzuki New Zealand GSXR 1000. And he gets a little bit closer to Rees as they come out of the trade zone corner. Now we switch back to the rear-facing camera on the 92 as they head towards the Bridgestone Bridge for the first time. Damon Rees in command, 2, Moyer in second place. Can't quite see who's in third. I think it might be the 34 of Daniel Medham from Gleneden in Auckland on the Coleman Suzuki. And then in behind him it's the 91, and that's Richie Dibbin. On board here with Adam Chambers on the big Kawasaki Superbike once again this year. So he's starting to make his way through the field as he goes down the Sharp As long haul straight. Jaden Carrick, another local here from Whanganui. Oh, we got one into the fence there as they went through the Suzuki crossing. Can't quite see who that was. You might get a repeat of it. And that looks like it's the number 27 that's gone in. As we go back to the head of the race, and if it is the 27, that is David Hall on the PJ Racing Suzuki. There is Daniel Medham, all arms and legs as they go over the Bridgestone Bridge once again. Rees leads it. Second place it is the number 2. Then we go back to the 34, and then it is the Barrack Sports Bar sponsored Suzuki of Richie Dibbin. There he is in the 91. Behind him, Adam Chambers. And then it's Mitch Rees. Now remember, Mitch starting from the rear of the grid, because at Whanganui, your qualifying positions determine your grids in each and every race. And poor old Mitch had a terrible qualifying. They had an ignition problem with the Honda, so he started on the back row. He's slowly but surely cutting his way through the field. Back on board here with Adam Chambers under the trees, heading down the Versatile building straight into the Robert Holden turn. They come once again, and he dives down the inside of Richie Dibbin and takes the spot away. So Adam Chambers, originally from Hastings, spent a fair bit of time in Western Australia, but now living back in Hastings, doing a great job on the number 64, the Kawasaki. In behind him, it's the Rees Motorcycles Honda. You're on board here with Jaden Carrick on the Whanganui Toyota Suzuki. Jaden, remember, got the whole shot in the first race, but was penalised 20 seconds for jumping the start, and that took him out of the results. So he'll be riding a little bit angry, I would think. 34, past New Zealand Superbike champion. This is Daniel Medham, and right in behind him, it's the 64, that is Chambers. This is the race leader though. Scott Moyer getting a little bit closer. Well, he knows all about chasing and he knows all about winning here. To Scott Moyer, he's a two-time Suzuki Series champion. On board here with Rees. Out of the Robert Holden turn they come, heading into the trade zone corner now. Moyer gets a little bit closer to the Honda as they work their way through the 90-degree right-hander and out onto the Hooker Transport curves. And they've put a fair bit of distance between themselves and third place, and it's still Daniel Medham from Auckland on the Coleman Suzuki. Then we go back to Chambers, and then it's the 62 of Mitch Rees, and in behind them it would be the Barrack Sports Bar sponsored Suzuki of Richie Dibbin. On board here with Chambers as Mitch Rees slides down the inside through turn number 1 and down the short chute, the Visit Whanganui NZ.com straight. He's got the position. Wheelie there from Chambers as they head down Taupo Key once again. On board here with Chambers, he's fighting desperately to stay in contact with Mitch Rees just ahead of him, and manages to do so as they go under the Emmets Bridge and then heads towards the Robert Holden turn once again. Daniel Medham under a bit of pressure now from the older Rees brother, and that's Mitch. It's young brother Damon out in the front. We're back on board here with Adam Chambers on the Kawasaki, and they close it all up as they come through the trade zone corner. You see the airbags used on the corners, all about safety here at the Cemetery Circuit. Flea and his team doing an amazing job to transform what is normally city streets into an international quality race circuit, complete with all the safety benefits you could think of. 34, Medham continues to hold on to the spot. Right in behind him it is Mitch Rees, and then it's Adam Chambers on board here with second place. And if anything, Damon Rees looks like he's just starting to get away just a little bit. Under the Emmets Bridge they go once again, diving through the trees, through the shadows, down the Versatile Builders Straight, looking out the back of Rees's bike. As you see, Moyer close up the gaps under braking, so he's the demon late breaker, is the man from Taupo on the Carl Vandermeer Builders Suzuki. You can see for yourself as they head towards the Bridgestone overbridge once again. He'll pick up a little bit of advantage as they come down the TSS Red Baron Straight. Meantime, behind them, Mitch Rees on the move, trying to get around the man from Glen Eden, and that is Daniel Medham, and he might have a run on him here as they head down into turn 1. On the outside, it's the Honda of Mitch Rees. Inside, it's the 34 of Daniel Medham. But I tell you what, you don't outbrake Daniel Medham too often. He is the last of the late breakers. He was notorious for it when he was the 600 Sports Production rider, and he was even more so when he was the New Zealand Superbike champion. 92, Damon Rees leads at 2, Moyer in second. Moyer again trying to get a little bit closer. You see the G-forces as they lean over the front of the machine under the heavy braking. That's why you've got to have arms like a gorilla and good core muscles and shoulder muscles as well. You're on board here with Scott Moyer. Got his start in motorcycling and motocross way back when, and I think that's where he gets his aggression from. Ridden in all sorts of different classes. Checkered flag comes out. Damon Rees makes it 2 for 2 at Whanganui, following in his famous father's footstep. Are we going to see a dominant performance from the younger Rees? He's been in the British Superbike Championships in the New Zealand off-season, but he's back home now.
Yeah, I could hear him the whole race, and I just knew that if I just kept pushing to my maximum that whole race, he couldn't quite get close enough to make a move in that one. So he definitely made a big step from the first race to that one, but yeah, I think it was still quite a comfortable win.
So a quick look at the results in the Reach Formula 1 shows you that Damon Rees gets the win, makes it 2 for 2 from Scott Moyer, Daniel Medham, Mitch Rees and Adam Chambers. Welcome back to the Cemetery Circuit. Third and final round of the Suzuki Series in the action, as well as the temperature hotting up here at Whanganui. There is number 63, that's Jetty Josiah. He's the points leader in the Supermoto, brought to you by Amerex. Watch 2 for the 931. That's John O'Hamlin. He won the first race on the yellow Suzuki, but it's Josiah on the Yamaha, the Bike Talk Yamaha, that goes into the front early on. Looks like Hamlin coming through in second place on the Suzuki. This is sort of a repeat of what we saw in the first heat, but after a while it was Hamlin that came through, flirting with the hay bales there. I think that might have been Craig Scott. You're on board with him now, the man they call Cudge. He's been up since around about, hasn't gone to bed, probably didn't get to bed at all till about 7 this morning, because he was building the racetrack here, and he's been doing that for years and years and years, has Craig Cudge Scott. He's on the Honda CRF 450. Leader, though, is on the Yamaha YZ450. It's the Suzuki in second, so 3 of the major Japanese brands represented at the front of this one. Amerex bring it to you and have been big-time supporters of Supermoto for a long, long time. 1 lap in the books, and it is Josiah. Now, he could play the long game here. He had a good points lead coming into this, the third and final round at Whanganui. Didn't need to reinvent the wheel, doesn't need to risk life and limb. All he needs to do is pick up points. But I think He's a racer and he'd love to win this. Ben Dowman just coming out of the corner into the Taupo Key as well as this big field of supermotos head up through the versatile Holmes Straight and into the Robert Holden turn. Here's the move coming from John O'Hamlin, and he made it look easy, didn't he? Just round the outside, shadowed Josiah as they came through the right-hander and into the trade zone turn. We've got a new race leader, and it is the Suzuki of John O'Hamlin, the Dibben Swartz sponsored machine. 714, this is Ben Dowman. He's another local Whanganui boy on the Honda machine. Or man, really, he's not a boy any longer. So back on board here with Cudge, Craig Scott, heading down the TSS Red Baron straight, the front straight here at Whanganui. And down the inside of him comes another one of the quick Suzukis, and that's Roger Bland, I think, just moving up a spot. So they're inside the top 10 now as they head down onto the Sharpaz long haul straight. Meantime, the race leader out of the Suzuki crossing up through the S as he goes. This is John O'Hamlin on the RM450. Essentially, for people that are new to supermoto competition, these are motocross bikes. They have the suspension shortened, they put smaller wheels on them, they put obviously slick road racing tyres on them, but apart from that, a lot of these bikes do double duty in the motocross season. They put the knobbly tyres back on, get the suspension out to the full travel, and they race them on the dirt as well. And both these guys very accomplished on the dirt as well as the seal. John O'Hamlin leads it, Jetty Josiah through in second place. Then it's the veteran, that's Mitch Rowe on the Husky. Then behind him it's Ben Dowman. And then we go back to 10, and number 10 is James Clark. And Clark is on the Aramac sponsored Honda CRF 450. You're riding with him here. Had a great first two rounds of the series, did James. Currently was third in the points going into this one, the third and final round. Oh, somebody taken to the grass, and I think that might have been the Suzuki. No, it wasn't. In fact, it was Ben Dowman, and that's allowed James Clark to get up ahead of him. So a fortuitous change of position there for Clark. He's gone up ahead of the 714 of Dowman, and Dowman taking to the grass through the Suzuki crossing and living to tell the tale. So that's a good bit of machine control for Dowman. Meantime, they're starting to get a little bit closer to 007, and that is Mitch Rowe out of Taranaki, one of the veterans. Just picked up another veterans motocross title just a couple of months ago. Mitch, one of the first true professional motocrossers on the New Zealand scene, many moons ago now. Clark and Dowman arguing about the spot. Dowman getting a little bit closer, and they're all getting a little bit closer to 007, and that is Mitch Rowe. 822 in the fight as well, and that is Roger Bland. So the next one after that should be the 62 of Craig Scott. Big wheelie there from James Clark as he heads down towards the Robert Holden turn once again. And down the inside of Clark comes Dowman, so he pays him back for that slight indiscretion as he came through the crossing. That's where Clark got ahead of Ben Dowman. These guys are locals, they race each other all the time. Oh, and has Dowman got a machine problem just looking down at the Honda? Still going race pace though, nothing James Clark can do about it. Back on board here with Clark, they go down the TSS Red Baron straight. Here comes the big charge from the Aramac sponsored rider, but he can't get down the inside of Ben Dowman. Dowman shuts the door as they go down the short chute. 822 in there as well. And as we told you before, that is Roger Bland. He's just tagged onto the back of this bunch. Dowman and Clark battling away, and that's allowed the 007 of Mitch Rowe to get away just a little bit. So Mitch Rowe sitting pretty comfortably in third spot at the moment. All the action, fourth, fifth and sixth. Brandt just drifting off the pace as they head down into the Robert Holden Memorial once again. Dowman leading his good friend James Clark through the right-hander as you're on board here with Craig Cutch Scott, and that is John Oliver just gone up the inside of him through Robert Holden. So he's come from a way back. It's been a pretty good ride for him. In fact, he was the one I think tangled in the hay bales in the first lap, so it's been a bit of a race of redemption for John Oliver. Meantime, we focus in on this battle. Third, fourth, fifth and sixth on your screen. And too close to call at the moment. Anything can happen. You see that these bikes aren't quite as stable as we saw from the purpose-built road racing machines, but they're a whole lot of fun to ride. There's no doubt about that. And that upright style and throw it in cornering skills really does get the crowd excited. There is Brandt just tugging onto the back of this bunch. 007, Mitch Rowe leads them around. He's currently sitting in third place. Right in behind him, it's Ben Dowman. Then we go back to James Clark, and then we go back to the 822 of Roger Bland, and he's on the Dibben Swartz Suzuki. Back on board here with James Clark. There's Ben Dowman just up ahead of him, Mitch Rowe just ahead of them. Meantime, out in the front, it's still Jono Hamlin and Jetty Josiah. They're having their own little battles, probably a quarter of a lap up the track. I just got a glimpse of one of them as they headed down into turn number 1. Down the TSS, Red Baron Straight, they come once again. James Clark giving us the best pictures in the house from the onboard camera. Very sideways on the brakes that time was Ben Dowman. That back-it-in style that we've been so used to seeing Richie Niven do here on the Cemetery Circuit. Richie, of course, ruled the roost in the Supermotos for years and years and years, but the last 2, he's thrown in his lot with road racing. Here's the current 600 Sports Production Champion of New Zealand, but you'll see him out in the Superbikes here today at Whanganui. Here is James Clark, another one that's been around the supermoto scene for a long, long time. His dad, part of the Aramex Delivery Unlimited family. Checkered flag comes out as we go back to the front of the field, and Jono Hamlin makes it 2 for 2 in the Aramex Supermotos. Jetty Josiah, maybe he was just collecting points in this one. He'll do enough to win the championship. In third place, it should be the veteran, and that is Taranaki's Mitch Rowe. And then behind him, it's the first of the lads from Whanganui, and that is Ben Dowman. And that's the way the judges saw it as well. Jono Hamlin from Jetty Josiah, Mitch Rowe, Ben Dowman, and James Clark, the top 5 in the Supermotos. So if you have a look at the overall class results, you can read them for yourself. Mitch Rees wins Formula 1. Formula 2 is Rogan Chandler. In Formula 3, it's Richard Markham Barrett. Then Darren Bendel in the Junior Bears, Dwayne Bishop in Seniors. Supermoto goes to Jetty Josiah. Steve Bridge wins the Pre-89 Post-Classic Juniors. Jean Louis gets the Seniors. Formula 1 sidecars, Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. Formula 2, it's Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. This is the big one. This is the one that the big crowd has been waiting for. This is the Robert Holden Memorial. Brought to you by Whanganui Auto Wreckers and Machinery Transporters, Heavy Towing of Whanganui. This is the big one. Everyone wants to win the Robert Holden. Some say this is more prestigious than a national title. Don't know if I'd go quite that far, but this teams up the best lap times from all the classes of racing up against each other for 10 laps. Just watching there, Mark Perry as we get set to go, and away they go once again. And the firm favourite would have to be Damon Rees, and it is Damon Rees that leads them into the first turn, and it's his brother right alongside him. And in fact, it's going to be Mitch that's going to lead them out onto the Sharp As Long Haul Straight for the first of 10 times. Damon Rees right there. And what about the start there from Jaden Carrick on the Whanganui Toyota, Whanganui Drilling Suzuki, number 55, right in it as well, as it is Mitch Rees that leads them through the head cemetery up towards the Robert Holden Memorial for the first time. 62 in the front, then it's 55, then it is 92. Then we go back to the 34 by the look of it of Daniel Metham on the Suzuki. He's right up there as well. Then Adam Chambers on the big Kawasaki there, and the best of the 600s. I know it's early on, but it'll be the youngster, and that's Zach Fuller on the Rees Motorcycles CBR 600. We got one down as they came over the Bridgestone Bridge. And luckily the air fence has done its job, but the officials have done theirs as well. And the red flag comes out, and the race is stopped. So here it is in slow motion, just watching the Bridgestone signs. And as I said, the air fence doing its job in capturing rider and machine. Here it is from a different angle. This is from our camera 1 position, and it's quite high speed as they come over that Bridgestone overbridge. Slightly different angle here, looking from the back of Adam Chambers' bike, I think it is. So here we go on the restart. Watch again for number 62. That is Mitch Rees, and watch for his younger brother, Damon. That's Damon on the 92. Damon's been unbeaten in the F1 Superbikes all afternoon here at Whanganui, but once again, it is the 62 he's got for company, but it's Damon Rees that goes into the front as they head down onto the Sharp As Long Haul Straight. Now, for the last 2 years, the Robert Holden has been won by offshore riders. Last year, it was Richard Cooper, Supersport champion from the British Superbikes, and the year before that, Isle of Man hero Peter Hickman picked the pocket of Scott Moyer. This time, no overseas competitors because of the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic. But boy, we've seen some fantastic racing, and I'm sure we're going to see even more here this time around. It looked like with the 27 of David Hall just got a little bit wrong coming out of the Trade Zone Robert Holden turn as they head down towards the Bridgestone Overbridge. Whanganui Auto Wreckers and Whanganui Heavy Towing bring it to you. It's the Robert Holden Memorial. Sadly, we lost Robert Holden in 1996 in a practice crash at the Isle of Man, as we close in here on the back of Daniel Metham's Suzuki as he comes out of turn number 2, the Mars Pet Care turn, and down the Sharp As long haul straight. 92 though, the race leader. This is Damon Rees. You're on board here with Richie Dibbon. He didn't get a very good start. He's trying to get around a couple. I think that's Ray Clee just up ahead of him, the veteran from Kumu, as they work their way through the head cemetery, where the cemetery gets, the cemetery circuit I should say, gets its name, into the Robert Holden turn. Out along the trade zone short straight and into the hooker curves comes the race leader. Over the Bridgestone Bridge we go. You're on board here with the man that's the dominant force in the F1s. Oh, we've got one that's expired by the look of it. A trail of smoke, and that's mechanical. I just hope there's no oil being spilled on the Bridgestone overbridge. No doubt the officials will be having a good look at that. Lap 3 of 10 as they streak down into the Gilmore Homes first turn. And this is Seth Devereaux. It's just going to pull over and park it by the start line. We zoom on here on past New Zealand Superbike champion. That is Daniel Metham, taking the rear view of the Metham bike from Adam Chambers' Kawasaki. These superbikes hardly get out of second gear around this 1.6 kilometre circuit, just over a mile in the old language. It's essentially an elongated square. As they rocket through the hooker transport curves and head up towards the Bridgestone Bridge once again. There is Metham, there is Chambers. And then behind them, this is Zach Fuller's view, and he'd be the best of the 600s. That's him. You can pick the 600 machines by the yellow number plates. And we're looking for number 80, and there he is. Now, Zach's doing a fantastic job here. He's got his first win in the 600s, but he has put a couple of the more than a couple of the Superbike riders to the sword here in the Robert Holden Memorial. Through the crossing they go. You're right here with Zach Fuller. Remember that name. He's a star of the future. There's no doubt about it. Came from the Gixxer Cup, then went into the Pro Twins class. Now here he is with Team Rees on the 600, and he'd be the fastest of the 600s. Back on board here with Chambers. That is as close as you want to get to Daniel Metham. My God, how wasn't there a touch there? That was so close. Chambers left the braking way late as they came through the trade zone corner. Now he's going to set up Metham for a pass down the inside as they head down into the Gilmore Homes corner, and I think Metham's going to let him go. The shadow there is that of Adam Chambers, and Chambers goes into the front of Metham, and Metham comes straight back at him, but thinks better of it as he banks into that reshaped turn heading out onto the Sharp As long haul straight, and that is the Mars Pet Care turn 2 as we trace the path of Metham from the number 80 bike of Zach Fuller. And Zach Fuller will really up into just outside the top 5 at the moment. So this is a giant killing performance from the young man, the ex-motocrosser from Taupri. You're on board with them here. Ahead of them, it's Adam Chambers and Daniel Metham. At the front of the field, it is still Damon Rees and his brother Mitch. There they are. Across the stripe they go, virtually together. Well, Tony Rees has won the Robert Holden Memorial 7 times. And I know that both Mitch and Damon would love to add that title to their CVs or their resumes. And who's to say they're not going to do it? At the moment, it is young Damon out in the front. Been riding in our off-season up in the British Superbike support program up there, going back, COVID-19 willing, at the end of the New Zealand season. Mitch Rees right in behind him. Mitch on the 62, Damon on the 92, Mitch on the brand new Honda, that's the 2021 version. Damon on the slightly older version. He's been racing BMWs up in the UK, but he said it didn't take much to adapt back to the Honda. It's like putting on a favourite suit. 92, Damon Rees gets a little bit sideways under braking for turn 1 here at Whanganui. We go back to the battle here for 7th and 8th. You're riding with Richie Dibbon on the Barrick Sports Bar Suzuki. Just up ahead of him is the 27, another Suzuki, and that is David Hall. David having his first season on the big Superbike machines. There he is as they work their way through the Gilmore Homes turn. Richie, as we told you before, an absolute standout on Supermoto machines. The current 600 Super Sport champion of New Zealand in this COVID-19 shortened season from NZSBK last year. And really starting to monster David Hall as they work their way through the Suzuki crossing and up through the trees on the versatile building straight into the Robert Holden. And Dibbon looks like he goes down the inside of Hall to take the position. So I think Richie Dibbon might move up into 6th place. Meantime, at the top of the end of the street, we've got the 92 getting real pressure from his older brother, and that is Damon Rees holding out his brother Mitch. And I can tell you that they're both flirting with the track record, and that is 48 seconds and change. Well, everyone said to me when we got here today at Whanganui that record will be under threat from the slight configuration of the track changes and also from the resurfaced area around this 1.6 kilometre track. And we've seen that in the previous races, and I think we're going to see it here in the Robert Holden Memorial as well. On board here with Zach Fuller, as he is looking long and hard at the back of the 1000cc Suzuki of Daniel Mettam. That's Adam Chambers just in front of him. So these guys' positions have been static over the last couple of laps. They can't drop each other. If anything, Zach Fuller's getting closer to them. Once again, just getting a little bit untidy under brakes is the 92 of Damon Rees. If you ask yourself the question, how hard are they trying? They're trying hard, make no mistake about it. As I told you, their father, Tony, ruled the roost, multiple New Zealand road racing champion, and 7 times the winner of the Robert Holden Memorial. It would mean so much to any of the Rees, be it older brother Mitch or young brother Damon, to win this title. Adam Chambers still towing around Daniel Mettam, right in behind them, the best of the 600s, and that is Zach Fuller. Zach Fuller hasn't put a wheel wrong all weekend. Picked up his first win in the 600s, has done nothing wrong on the Rees Motorcycle 600, and easily the fastest 600 here in the Robert Holden Memorial. White flag out, 1 to go. It's going to be a Rees because there's nothing but clear track behind them, but who's it going to be? Has Mitch got something for his younger brother into the Gilmore Holmes turn for the last time? We go back to this enthralling battle. Daniel Mettam nearly throws it away at probably the second fastest part of the racetrack. He manages to stay in the seat and stay composed, and Zach Fuller can't get around him. 64, Adam Chambers sits in 4th. That is Mettam in 5th, Fuller in 6th. This battle within a battle going on here. Love to know what's going on at the front of the field, though. Is it going to be the 92? Is it going to be the 62? Rees on Rees at the top of the field as we track Zach Fuller's progress as he heads up towards the Robert Holden turn once more. Here are the leaders. Out of the trade zone corner they come. Whanganui Auto Wreckers, Whanganui Heavy Hauling bring it to you. It's the Robert Holden Memorial, and it's going to be a Rees 1-2, and it's going to be young Damon gets the win. He makes the clean sweep here at Whanganui. He wins both the F1 bike races and he wins the Robert Holden as well. Zach Fuller's going to give it everything right through to the end, but he's going to have to be content with 6th place because Adam Chambers it's going to come through in 4th. In 3rd place it was Jaden Carrick on the Suzuki. But what a finish for Damon and Mitch Rees.
It's been a special day, and even better when my brother gets to race me in the last one, and he definitely kept me on my toes. And obviously Zach's ridden phenomenal this week today, and he certainly deserves to be second in the series in F2. And yeah, I mean, it's a proud moment for me and my family. It's something I wanted to do, and I've wanted to do for a long time, is put my name on that Robert Holden trophy, and this means so much to me. So yeah, I'm over the moon. It's just, yeah, almost lost words now.
Well, for the last 2 years, that trophy went offshore, but this year it will definitely stay in New Zealand in the hands of Damon Rees. His dad, a 7-time winner, Damon Rees, claims the Robert Holden Memorial. Have a look at the congratulations here in Team Rees for both brothers, Mitch and Damo. And of course, Vicky and Tony in there as well. And Zach Fuller, what a find this young kid is. In fact, he won the Ray Whittam Trophy for that most outstanding rider of the series. So congratulations to young Zach. But what a day for Rees motorcycling. What a day for motorcycling in general. All these guys get a good tune-up as they head to the NZSBK. But the Suzuki Series is alive and well in these COVID-19 troubled times. Hope you've enjoyed watching it. We'll make sure we're back again next year.